side, the trail there. I've never ridden on that.
We have 2 meetings tonight.
Thank you.
The second one will begin at 6:40. That's our regular board meeting. What I'm calling to order now is the special board meeting, the public hearing for the annual budget and appropriations. So, Mary Ann, would you call the roll?
Yes, Galata. Here. Leachman. Ford. Here. Hubbard. Here. Larson. Here. Russo.
Here. Okay, moving on to number 3. This is a public hearing for ordinance 2025-001, adopting the FY25 annual budget and appropriations for the library, for library purposes. Would anyone here or online like to address the annual budget and appropriations question? No one online and no one here? Hearing no one, we will adjourn and start again at 6:40. So I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Russo and a second by trustee Fasano. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned until 6:40.
Wow.
I'm printing away.
Good evening again. I'll call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Library Trustees of the Batavia Public Library District for Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. And Mary Ann, would you call the roll?
Yes. Galata. Here. Leachman.
Here.
Ford. Here. Hubbard. Here. Larson. Here. Russo.
Here?
Fasano. Here.
Good. Thank you, Mary Ann. Number 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll lead tonight. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary Ann? You called
Block
the
your
roll?
view.
Yeah.
All right. Then number 4, comments from the audience. Would anyone here or online like to speak?
I wish to talk.
Mr.
As
Peters?
usual. I was here, David Peebles, I was here at the last meeting, and I got the response back from the board and the library director. Now, did all you board people get a copy of the letter?
Yes.
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 That's good. And the reason I'm here, I only got partial answers to my questions. And now I'm sure there's plenty of other people. As you notice in the letter, there was the general public who were interested in the map project gave 8,400. So there's a lot of people like myself, I'm sure, that are interested in the two questions I have. I'm sure these others as well. I'm talking for them, we wish to know where the maps are and what's going to happen with them since the project is no longer in existence. Now, don't tell me you're going to be I got to wait for another answer on this one. I'm sure you know where the maps are and what's going to happen with them.
And you know what I would say is that the board meetings are primarily to conduct our board business, and we do want to get you an answer to it, but it's probably best answered separately from the meeting.
They sent me, you should know this because the letter stating it has the wrong, actually has the wrong name in the letter here. They call them the Stanford maps, where they're actually the Sanford maps.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to know this because I'm sure these maps will be here long after us, and the public would like to use them, Because they have other things.
We will get you an answer to those questions.
Okay, and then once you find out, are we gonna keep them in the map room or whatever? I hope we're gonna keep them in the map room. If not, if they're fragile or something, we'll go from there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Then moving on, number 5, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by trustee Ford and a second,
I'll second that.
and a second by trustee Fasano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is approved. Okay, number 6 is the consent agenda. These are items that we've discussed before, and tonight is the formal approval of them. Elizabeth, would you read the list?
Sure. On tap for tonight's consent agenda, the regular board meeting minutes from the meeting on July 23rd, 2024, the July 2024 expenditures report, ordinance 2025-001 annual budget and appropriation for fiscal year 25, the acceptance of IPLAR fiscal year 23-24, and the security camera policy. And again, all these were discussed during the committee of the whole meeting earlier this month.
And I'd like to pull ordinance 2025-001 just for further discussion. Are there any other items that people would like to have pulled? If not, would you like to make a motion to approve them?
Sure. I approve the consent agenda with the exception of the ordinance 2025 for the budget appropriation.
Okay, so a motion by trustee Larson.
Second.
And a second by trustee Hubbard. Any discussion? Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the consent agenda is approved with the exception of item C. Number 7, financial reports for July 2024.
Well, since we only are 1 month into the fiscal year, there's not a lot to report, except at starting on page 48 in your packet, is the working budget for fiscal year 25. We've already received about 54% of our revenue, property tax revenue, for this fiscal year, so that's great. And in our expenditures, we're roughly anywhere from 6 to 13% of our budgeted amount spent. So where we need to be, but we did get already half of our revenue. Also on page 51 in the cash and investments, just to note under the special reserves fund towards the bottom of the page that are $5,106,630.04 to be used for our remodeling project.
Don't forget that 4 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions? Then moving on, should we talk about?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do the ordinance right now. And yeah.
Okay, so our auditor brought it to our attention that there was something amiss with our tentative ordinance for the budget and appropriation. The way we had presented it didn't make sense to the auditor, and they questioned how we did it. So I contacted our attorney, Mark Ritzman, and I gave him a copy of what we had originally come up with, and then he responded giving us some guidance about how we should do it moving forward. Because really, budget and appropriation, you're basing your appropriation on what your budgeted amount is, and you are giving yourself some wiggle room. So if you budget books, let's say you budget your library, well, let's look at the numbers. So on this additional handout I gave you, you can see in the corporate fund, the budgeted amount, say for payroll, is $2,510,000. So there is no rule as to what percentage you would increase that for your appropriation, but Mark Ritzman said 20 or 30% is totally normal and reasonable, so we did 30%. And that means our appropriation for the payroll line is $3,263,000. So we applied that formula to everything that was budgeted for fiscal year '25. So our appropriations, as you can see, are very different amounts, meaning that our total appropriation amount was, where is it? It's somewhere on here, total all funds, $6,229,965, which is a far cry from what we had originally had in our budget appropriation, which was 15 million. Not that we would get 15 million, spend 15 million, but we just did it in such a way that it was, the balloon was too big. And so this is a more status quo for how other libraries do it, and this is how we're going to do it moving forward.
I remember we talked about that last year, about it being.
And Don and I were going to tackle that next year. We're just kind of redoing and rethinking how we present all of this information. But when the auditor called us and said, well, this is kind of a problem, you need to fix this. So we said, okay, we're going to deal with it now.
But the auditor hasn't changed, so.
I don't know why they caught it this time and not before. 'Cause
Just different set of eyes.
Yeah.
we've been doing it the previous way for a while now.
Right.
So.
And they didn't say that we have to go back and do any restatements or
No. No,
things to fix.
I talked with
previous-
our attorney about that, and I said, I talked about how the notice was in the paper and that anyone in the public could come and request a copy of the budget appropriation. And to my knowledge, nobody ever did that, but once we changed it, I put that.
You put the new one in.
I put the new one out.
But they didn't say you had to change it for previous years at all.
No. I don't think it would have really, would not have impacted anything. We didn't break the law or anything like that, but it's just that our way of approaching the budget appropriation is, I think, skewed in terms of the big picture and those final amounts. And so this, I think, is more realistic and appropriate.
Any other questions? So I will make the motion that we approve tentative or ordinance 2025-001. And we would need, okay, so a motion by trustee Russo and a second by trustee Collada. Any discussion? Then Mary Ann, would you do a roll call? Sure.
Collada?
Aye.
Teichman?
Aye.
Ford? Aye. Hubbard?
Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Russo?
Aye.
Fasano? Aye.
And it is approved. Okay, number 8, President's Report. Well, I don't usually do a book report, but it is the start of school, and there's a reason for mentioning it. It's The Secret Lives of Booksellers and Librarians by James Patterson. And it's really an interesting book, I think, for us to look at, though, for anybody to look at. We all have a story of why we connected or how we connected with the library. And this is just page after page of stories of people who've connected with libraries. We learn kind of their first experience, which often involves the smell of books and things like that. Then we talk about how they became associated with the library or with book selling. And then what's especially good about it is it talks about people's experiences in bookstores and libraries. And it's just a great reminder of how important libraries are to people. And it talks about people of all different ages, all different incomes, all different interests. But it's really an inspiring set of stories about how important libraries are. So my book report is done.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have anything to share with the board?
I do. The Friends of the Library, we haven't met in a couple of months, but they sent me what they've done for June, July, and August, and they've really done well. The June, all they had was the corner book sales, and they did $600 for that one. July, they had an amazing Saturday sale, 929. Well, that's not the amazing, it was 929. But the Wednesday sale was 725. And then the corner book sale was 428 for a total of July for 2,089. I guess everybody was trying to stock up and get books for the summer, their summer reading, so they did very well. And then August, they had the educator sale and the regular sale. It was $911. They had the Wednesday sale for $189, and for a total of the 3 months was $3,800. So they're averaging over $1,000 per month. And they didn't even have a sale in June, so good job for the Friends of the Library.
Yeah.
And of course, they're going to be at the farmers market again for September 21st.
Thank you, Christy. Anything else?
Yes, thank you to Lisa and Mary from Youth Services for volunteering to be judges for the Mothers Club Pie Bake Off at the block party coming up here in September. So there is still room if a trustee would like to join and be a third
When
judge.
is it?
The Sunday of Labor Day weekend. Okay. I will pass along your email as
It's
well.
not on my diet, but I'll
You will take one for the team.
I
Or maybe 3 or 4 for the team.
I will pass along your information. So I know
Thank you.
I know it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of fun and for a good cause. So
Any other?
So Wednesday, September 4th, as we know, the municipal elections are going to be next spring coming up, and that's going to include open seats for library, park, school, city council, city clerk, a lot of open positions. So BCDI is sponsoring an event here on Wednesday, September 4th at 7 p.m. We're going to have a couple people from either current or past board members for each of these organizations just present a little bit about what the organizations do, what the boards do, what the structure is, when they meet, those kind of things to kind of generate some interest and where people can ask questions about what's it like to actually be on a board, what does it take, what's the commitment level, what's the responsibilities, those kind of things. So it's an open conversation. I'm going to sit in on it. If anybody else from the board here wants to do it, you're welcome to, or if you're thinking about running for a different board position, then this would be a good opportunity to learn those kind of things too. So I'd like, just the idea is to generate some buzz and get lots of people to run, because often we have uncontested elections, and it'd be great to have some great candidates to choose from.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, they did it a couple years ago too, so.
yeah, I think even just laying out, here are the committees when they meet, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
or
just the
even-
general structure, those kind of things.
I didn't even know what some of the offices particularly did. So
Right.
it was helpful.
Yep, so, and I know there's openings on every board.
Yeah.
So,
Andrew, what's the date for that again?
September 4th, Wednesday, September 4th at 7 p.m.
At the library.
Yep.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
Anything else from the board? Then moving on, number 9, directors and librarians reports.
So, an update on the strategic plan. We, as I said at the COW, we had 6 board members and 47 staff members complete the assessment questionnaire. I should be receiving the assessment report from Fast Forward. I received like a draft, but they want to send me an official report, which I should be receiving by the end of the week. I'm going to be sharing that report with management team at a management team meeting on September 4th, busy day, when we meet, so that we can go over it and look at the results of that before we then, share it beyond management team. As of today, yesterday was the last day for the community survey, and when it was all said and done, we had 781 responses, which is really great. Fast Forward Libraries was very impressed. And all of the one-on-one interviews are finished, and the focus groups are going to be on the 4th and 5th of September. Most of them are here at the library. I think one is going to be virtual, but I don't remember which one. So that's the update for the strategic plan. We're moving right along. Staff Development Day was last week, Friday. That was our third half-day training. And we had Current Technologies, who you may recall is our new IT support company. They came out and did a presentation on cybersecurity for staff. That was really great and informative. And Andrew reviewed some IT stuff with the staff. I talked about the updates with the strategic plan, our performance appraisal system, which we started in July, and I went over the general use policy that the board approved a couple of months ago. We got 8 new walkie-talkies for emergencies, and we had everybody try them out and demonstrate with them. And we had one particular staff member who really got into it and sounded like a police officer coming from a police car. So the walkie-talkies are going to be at all the service desks. They'll be for use, like if we have a big power outage. We have many modes of communication that we have in place in the event of an emergency, and this is just one more to add to that. They also have little built-in flashlights, which I thought was cool, and we'll see.
No one's played with that.
But we have them on both floors of the building so that staff can access that. We also reviewed our emergency flip book that Molly created, and each page is, how to respond in a certain type of emergency. So we went over that with staff. Those are also at all of the service desks, and all of the PIC managers have a copy of the flip book, so that it's a quick reference guide in the event that an emergency were to crop up. Our safety committee, which is Kathy, Stephanie, Molly, and me, we are updating our complete emergency response manual. I think we'll probably have that maybe by the end of September. I don't know. We're wading through it and updating that. So we'll have that available for all the staff as well. And that's just an expanded version of what to do in an emergency, contact information, et cetera, et cetera. And as you all know, Carrie Halter, our manager of technical services, is retiring. Her last day is this Friday after being here for over 18 years. She's been an integral part of the whole staff as well as the leadership team. And she's quite the expert in cataloging and collections management. And she's worked on a lot of different projects with the staff long before I was here, and certainly this last year we did quite a few. She supervised a staff of 4 part-time tech services assistants, and she also supervised several volunteers on a weekly basis. So she's quite the team player, and we're going to really miss her as part of our management team, as part of the library staff, but we know that she will be listening to a lot of really excellent music in her retirement. Her bluegrass, which is also the music I love, so I can appreciate that. So thank you, Carrie, for everything.
Thank you.
Okay, so we didn't hire, no new hires. Carrie, as I said, is leaving. Also, we've made Lauren Brown, who works part-time in tech services and part-time in CERC as a full-time employee. We're going to move her completely in tech services, and that's Lauren Brown. So that's going to start next week. And where am I? So that's the only status change. And then we had several anniversaries. Beth Ann in circulation 3 years, Kathy Bonnick in circulation 6 years, Sarah May in circulation 14 years, and Mary Scott 15 years. And we have our upcoming board meeting on September 5th, Committee of the Whole. And then the regular board meeting is on September 17th, which we will have the board will be approving the ordinance 2025-002, the building and maintenance fund levy that we have to do every year. And I think that's it. Now I wanted to kind of go over the stats on page 5 in your packet. We're compared to last year, we're up in almost everything. Our circulation and use of materials, we were down in physical items, but we were up quite a bit on e-resources, which I thought was interesting, but overall our total circulation is up, from a year ago this month. And our reciprocal borrowing between our neighboring libraries is on the up too.
Reciprocal is when the patron actually goes to the other library.
Yeah, so if an Aurora patron comes to our library and borrows materials, I believe that's what we mean. Not, yes, they come here and use their library card and check something out. Not through Rails, actually physically visit. Let's see, and then there's our interlibrary loan through SWAN and non-SWAN. Those numbers for July. I don't know what our numbers were last year, but we had over 5,000, almost 5,500 things. Actually, more than 5,500 items go out of our library to other libraries, whether it was through SWAN or through the state. Let's see. Library cards, we have 14,539 library cards, population of 26,000, more than 50%, which is pretty good. I mean, we'd love to see it go even higher, but we're definitely over 50%. Our visitors and room usage are up. Library visitors went up by about 5,000. Meeting room reservations went up. Attendance in those meeting rooms for these different things doubled. And then our study room usage was just soared.
Yeah. Wow. What do you attribute that to?
Wow. I think it might have been some of the post-COVID.
Nobody was using it.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my guess. I don't know what.
Is that just for the month?
Yeah. Well, actually, yes, that's for the month of July.
Well, summer school.
Okay, so programs, I don't have last year's, but I do have this year, just for the month of July so far. Those are great numbers. And we have started to track family programs and family attendance separately, as a separate category. So we had 6 family programs and 421 attendees in the month of July, with a total of almost 2,000 people attending programs for youth through adults. Our database sessions went down. Not sure why that was, but they went down from 11,000 to 7,000 roughly. Our reference questions, we had 3,462 reference questions between adult and youth. And home delivery, we visited 13 sites and delivered 394 items in the month of July. And then PR marketing. So our website homepage hits went up from last year this month. Our website page views went up. Our unique visitors went down. I'm not sure why that would be, but then our Facebook followers went up and our Instagram followers went up, as well as our TikTok followers. So I just wanted to kind of go over those stats. And now I will turn it over to Weasel.
All right. I'll come this way because I know not everyone wants to be on camera. All right, I'm going to start backwards. I know it seems odd that we're reporting on July,
in August, and I know no one wants to hear about summer reading in September, so I thought I'd just give you the final numbers for that as far as youth services is concerned. And we had 1,479 readers sign up, and of those this year, we had 1,194 actively participating. And by that, they did at least one activity, read at least one day. We count days in youth services versus books or amount of time. Puts everyone on an even footing, including those that might not be like our super readers, and it also forces our super readers to slow down a little bit and enjoy the summer and not finish summer reading in like 3 days. So overall, that was a 5.8% increase in signups and a 4.8% increase in overall active participation, which is a good thing for us. And we had about 820 readers of varying ages actually complete the full program, and to complete the program in youth services, you've read for a total of 30 days over the course of a program. So for a lot of kids, that's no small feat. Not everybody is like, yay, reading over the summer as much as we love them to be. So that is a pretty good thing for us. And again, that's a little bit of a 5% increase over last year's numbers. So we really appreciate the support we had of our local businesses, both here in Batavia and the Fox Valley. Couldn't do it without them. And thank you again to the friends who also helped us fund some of our prizes and prize books. Thank you so much for your support. And until next year for that one. And then just a few highlights of activities that we had going on over the month of July. We've been doing a lot of sensory play with our youngest patrons, so those like 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, and you'll see some pictures there in your board packet. This particular one was an ice cream theme, so we did a lot of things with shaving cream, and again, a shout out to the friends who funded a sensory table. You can see that Mary P. and I are vanning it, and it held the shaving cream quite nicely. And our friends, I think, emptied every can that we had, yay for Dollar Tree. But it was a lot of fun, and it's wonderful to have that beautiful library garden space where we can make messes and then pull out the hose and not only clean up after ourselves, but also clean the children with their parents' permission. So we were lucky. It was a lovely day. But thank you again, friends. And we also have a picture here of the Harmony Bells. We also debuted those. It gave us a great excuse to say, hey, when you've done all the ice cream activities, go on over and play the bells. So thank you very much to the friends for their support there. Lots of fun programs. We are learning, myself especially, as we go, which things are popular, which things not so much. We always want to have kind of a smorgasbord of activities. What is one person's cup of tea is not necessarily someone else's. So we went a little old school with the marionette program, and what I loved about our presenter, Dave Herzog, is he talked about libraries and their effect on him and how he got into the marionette business, which was that he checked out a book from his local library and learned all about how to make marionettes, and it kind of went from there, became a career for him, and wouldn't you know, he found the book from his original library, I think on eBay, and he bought it and he showed the kids. So it was a wonderful tie into how wonderful libraries are and how they can really have a great effect on your life. And then we partnered with our friends in Adult and Teen Services on a book tasting out in the library garden during the Windmill City Fest. I think we're going to be looking for a different location next time. We're a little bit off the beaten path, but the small number of attendees that we did meet with all really enjoyed it, and what was really special about it was that they wanted to hear the kids' recommendations as well as the grown-up recommendations. So I think it was a great collaborative partnership. We'll just be looking at ways to make that attendee increase and also just to be a little bit more visible. And last but not least, speaking of learning things, we had a wonderful animal program here in the evening, which was terrific because it allowed folks who might be working to bring their families. The hard part was that we exceeded the capacity of the room. So one of the things we've learned is that going forward, we need to have tickets for our programs so that we can avoid disappointing people and we can let them know ahead of time that we've reached capacity. But overall, it was a wonderful summer. And any questions?
I just want to make a comment. I wish my grandchildren lived in Batavia because I read about all of these amazing things that you're doing and think that they would just so enjoy that. So good job on what you're doing for all those little people.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I can't take all the credit. I have a wonderful team, a lot of imaginations. You'll see on the front of our report all the fun things we did with John Cena and Shark Week and the Olympics. So yes, they have a very creative team and we have a good time together. But thank you so much.
Megan from Adult and Teen Services. So it's nice when Liesl and I stumble into doing something the same. I also just threw in summer reading this month because I figured no one would want to wait a month. So it went really well for ATS as well. Our registration was up 69%, our completion was up 112%, our active readers were up 95%, and the number of books read went up by 105%. So it was really exciting to see growth there. We made a couple changes to try to make it easier for people to participate and to have a little more incentives, and I think it clearly worked. So we're going to try to continue that trend going forward. We're really excited to see it pay off. We also had, in terms of regular programs, those are going well. We had 280 people come to 19 in-person programs. And as you can see, our passive programs just keep growing. So we're going to keep putting more and more out there for people. We had 172 people participate in 4 passive programs. So we're finding more and more people really like to be in the space and just get to do something, but kind of do their own thing on their own time. So we're going to keep increasing those opportunities. We had 43 people come to a virtual program this month. It was the genealogy on Polish ancestry, so that was great to have such a high turnout. I did want to call attention to, we're tracking our numbers differently for that going forward. We used to count community check-in in the virtual program numbers, but we just felt like that was maybe a little deceptive because it really inflated attendance for virtual programs, where we think it just makes more sense to look at that as sort of social media numbers and have the more traditional virtual programs be what we use in this count. So you might see some numbers look like they go down significantly, but our actual virtual program attendance is up from where it was before. We also have a couple exciting partnerships that we have coming up. We're going to be working with Batavia Main Street to help with their Illinois Main Street Conference is going to be here, and we're going to help get them some resources so that they can help share that with everyone attending the conference to see what is available here through our library, and then similarly at other libraries for people who are traveling from far away. We're also partnering with the Wabansie Community College Libraries. We are going to that way be able to help our patrons learn about access they have to databases that are maybe a little beyond our budgets and that we just can't offer here, as well as having them help promote some of our things going on to their students so that they just help us get the word out to all the exciting things we're doing. And our digital collections are going really well. We also got a lot of new resources from the Illinois State Library that Hans already got up on our site, so that was a great help from the promotional team, just to be able to get people that so quickly, because people might not be surprised here, we didn't have a lot of advance warning. It was just like, here they are, and it was over 50 new digital resources that we have to be able to add those databases to our site for people, so that's really exciting. And lastly, we're going to be getting our sewing machine out in the Maker Zone area. We have staff training on it now, so we hope this to be available within the next month. And if people are interested, Laura James, the librarian who did a lot of the legwork to get it all together, said she'd be able to come and do a little showcase for you. So that's what we have going on in ATS.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the databases that the state is providing now?
Absolutely.
Which I assume is no cost to us.
There's no cost to us. So the Illinois State Library, through the Secretary of State's office, is offering, it's over 53 resources. I can actually send the list to the board if that would be helpful. It's a lot of academic resources on, searching for articles on scientific topics, or they have an auto repair resource. There's some digital collections of different ebook collections geared to students or geared to people on certain topics. There are a lot of study guides in there. There's some health resources, a crafting one, a lot of Learning Express. Some of these are similar to ones we already have. We'll see how it goes because they might just be a different level of something we pay for. If the level the state is providing is going to stick around and is providing what people need, perhaps we can adjust what we're actually purchasing in the future. Some things are items we just did not have the ability to add in before, so it's on a topic that maybe people will enjoy. We'll see how it gets used, but I think it's 53 total new databases.
You don't have to send it. You've been. We'll look.
They are all on the website.
We'll go there.
Okay.
And just one other comment I'd like to make. I think it's thrilling to partner with Main Street and hold their conference here and help those people be aware of what libraries can do for them. I think I was on the website and noticed Morningstar, and I'm sure a lot of business people don't know that it's available. So that's really a nice opportunity. Any other questions or comments? Just like the book, we enjoy hearing what's going on, so thank you. Well, number 10 is just a reminder of upcoming meetings. Again, the COW, the Committee of the Whole, on Thursday, September 5th, and then our regular board meeting on Tuesday, September 17th. We finished our agenda, so I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Russo and a second by Trustee Ford. We don't have to discuss. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.